You know, Shady Penguin's got the Shady Lock, I got the Ridlocke. So that's what we've done. So before we start the actual game, I will explain as best I can the rules of this and how it works, and then we'll play, and even if you guys don't get it right away, then, you know, you'll get it as we go. But what I'll probably do is I will highlight this section of the stream and put it as a separate video on YouTube, where people can see what the rules of this are, if they want to, without having to like watch the whole, the whole stream and stuff. So let me just jump onto here real quick. So I have like just a little list of the rules here. So we're going to just quickly go through these. I'll explain exactly how this works, and then we can get started. So first of all, the standard rules apply to a Nuzlocke. Any Pokemon that faints obviously is considered dead and must be released or put in a Pokemon PC box and left there for like permanently. The player, obviously you can only catch the first Pokemon that you encounter in each area, and if that Pokemon obviously faints or gets away or something, then you don't get a second chance. And all Pokemon mustn't be nicknamed. The standard 3 rules of Nuzlocke do apply, but to the added rules, some of which we have done before, some like little rules to make the game a little bit more difficult. Things like only being able to heal, you're only allowed to use 3 healing items per battle at max. You can use as many as you want outside of battle and all that stuff, that's fine. We are going to play by the level limit, which means having to keep our highest level, or we have to keep all of our Pokemon under the highest level of the next gym leader. So if the next gym leader we have to fight, say their highest level is 21, we have to make sure none of our Pokemon go over level 21, and if they do go over level 21 before we beat that gym leader, we have to actually put that Pokemon in the PC, and we're not allowed to use them again until we defeat the gym leader. Then we can take that Pokemon that we're back out. So that's the way level limits work. Yeah, that's what I'll do as well, Derek. I'll probably make, after this video has gone up, which will be after the stream, I'll probably make a command that takes you to the video. There's also all the list of the rules are below the stream as well, if anybody wants to just look there. And then obviously Shiny Claws and Gift Claws are both in effect, so if we ever find a shiny Pokemon, no matter where it is, even if it's an area we've had an encounter, we're allowed to catch it. And gift Pokemon do not count as encounters. We can get a gift Pokemon in a town, and then also if there's like water in that town, we can use the water to get a normal encounter as well, by either fishing or surfing on it. And then, oh, so this is a new rule that I've added that I thought was fun. I think it only makes sense to do it with a randomizer, because if you're doing a normal playthrough without it being randomized, you could just easily avoid getting these Pokemon or something. Although I guess in a Nuzlocke you're not really able to avoid getting certain Pokemon, but this is the way this works. Okay. If you're randomized, your run, you must talk to every NPC in the game that offers an in-game trade, and if they're asking for a Pokemon that you have to trade it. No matter what it is. Even if it's something in your team that's super high leveled and really strong, if they want that Pokemon and they're offering you something garbage, you have to take it. I think that would be I think that's a pretty funny rule. Probably isn't going to take effect that often, but if it does, could be pretty hilarious. And then the last rule, which is the main kind of meat of what this Nuzlocke variant is, which is something we've kind of done before, but not to this degree. Anytime you enter a gym, an area with trainers, or an area that has a possible wild encounter, you must spin the wheel, and I'll show the wheel in a minute. Spin this wheel, and whatever effect you get lasts as long as it takes to get through the area or wild encounter. So, to explain this a bit better, so say for example, for the wild encounter, I have a wheel set up that has 10 numbers on it, and I have a notepad that has written down all 10 different things that can, all different effects, and we spin the wheel, say I get number 3, I look at what number 3 is in the list, and then we have to do that. So for example, for wild encounters, say I spin, so anytime I go into an area where I can get a wild encounter, a new wild encounter, before I get the encounter, I spin the wheel, and say I get number 3, so that means with number 3 it says I have to spin the type wheel which is another wheel I have set up that has all of the types on it. And if whatever type I land on, I can't use those types of moves during the wild encounter, which could potentially make it very difficult to catch Pokemon depending on the moves you get, depending on what type the wheel spins on. And as soon as I either finish catching that Pokemon or the Pokemon fainted or whatever, as soon as the wild encounter is finished, that effect goes away. And it's the exact same rule with anytime you get into an area with any kind of trainers. So literally any area, whether it's a cave, a route, a town, as long as it has available trainers for you to battle, you have to spin the wheel again, and you have to take one of the trainer/gym effects. There are different ones for each section. So the effects for trainers and gyms is different than the ones for wild encounters. I guess for example, one that's exclusive to wild encounters would be you can only use regular Pokeballs during the encounter, so you can't use Dust Balls or Master Balls or anything like that, which obviously would make it more difficult to catch stuff. And then with the trainer/gym wheel, this basically takes effect anytime you enter an area that has any kind of trainers in it, whether it's a town or a cave or whatever, you spin the wheel, and anytime you enter a new gym, you have to spin the wheel again. Now, so for example, if you go into a town that has trainers in the town, you spin the wheel, you battle all the trainers, and then when you go to the gym, you spin the wheel for a different effect, and the previous one goes away. So they're two separate things. So an example of this, say I spin the trainer/gym wheel and I get number 4. That makes it so I can't use any healing items during the battles at all. And the effect doesn't go away until you finish the area or gym that you're in. Now, a rule I think would be appropriate for this is when I get into a cave or a route of some kind, I can't leave the area, or I can't progress to the next area after this route or cave or whatever it is until I have to fight every trainer. That way I can't just avoid trainers. That way I can't just be like, oh well, you know, this effect I have is really hard, so I'm just going to avoid as many trainers as I can and just move on and just leave it. I can't do that. I have to fight every single trainer that's available to fight. And if there's an area like a cave where there's like maybe a rock or something that I can't push yet and I have to do that later, when I come back and do that, I'll have to spin the wheel again for the new trainers that I'm able to get to. So that's how it works. I'm sure, you know, it will kind of become more obvious how things work exactly while we're playing, but that is the whole kind of gimmick of this Nuzlocke, is you have this wheel spin where every time you get to certain areas of the game or certain sections, you have to spin these wheels and use all these different effects to make the game harder, basically. So I have 10 effects for encounters, and then I have 10 effects for the trainer/gym areas. If anybody has any ideas for new things to put on the wheel that could make the game a little bit more difficult, and actually there's a couple of things on here that actually can benefit you as well depending on the situation, but if anybody has any suggestions for ones that will make the game a little bit harder and you think it would be good to add on there, then let me know either on my Discord or my Twitter. If you're watching this on YouTube, put a comment on the YouTube video and say, oh, you should add this, and we'll do that. But yeah, that's basically the way this works. So it's a lot of explaining, but we'll kind of get into the game and it will become more clear exactly how it works, and you guys will be able to actually see all of the different effects that are going to take into play, because there's a lot of interesting ones on there. And also I have this randomized because, of course, why would I not randomize it? So let me load up the game here and we can get started.